On the morning of June 6, 1944, Nazi Germany was not blind. It was not asleep. It was not ignorant. German commanders knew an invasion was coming. They had the intelligence, the warnings, the reports. They had maps covered in pins and units ready to move. And yet, when Allied ships appeared on the horizon, they were staring at the wrong coastline. Hundreds of thousands of German troops were positioned over 150 miles away, guarding an empty stretch of beach at Calais, waiting for an attack that would never come. Normandy, the real target, was underdefended, outnumbered, and fatally exposed. This was not a failure of surveillance. It was a failure of belief. Someone had convinced the Nazi high command that the truth was a decoy and the lie was real. That mistake didn't happen overnight. It was engineered slowly, deliberately, and with surgical precision. The most devastating deception of World War II was not carried out by a general, a battlefield commander, or a shadowy spy ring inside enemy territory. It was executed by one man sitting at a desk, writing letters, telling stories, and feeding Germany information that was technically accurate and strategically useless. By the time the truth arrived, it arrived exactly when it was supposed to. Too late to matter. Juan Pujol García did not begin as a spy. He didn't grow up dreaming of secret codes or double lives. He was a civilian caught in the gears of extremism, crushed by a war he never chose. Before World War II ever reached Europe, Spain was already tearing itself apart, and Pujol was trapped in the middle. His chicken farm was seized. His mother and sister were kidnapped. He was forced into uniform, handed a rifle, and ordered to fight for causes he despised. To him, the ideologies didn't matter. What mattered was that both sides demanded obedience, sacrifice, and silence. He survived not because he believed, but because he learned how dangerous belief could be. When the Nazis began spreading across Europe, Pujol made a decision that would define his life. He wasn't trying to be heroic. He wasn't trying to be remembered. He wanted to stop something he saw as fundamentally evil, and he was willing to lie to do it. He walked into the British embassy in Madrid and offered himself as a spy, not with credentials, but with conviction. The answer was no. Britain didn't trust him. The door closed. That rejection didn't end his resolve. It sharpened it. If the people fighting the Nazis wouldn't use him, then he would walk straight into the enemy's arms and make himself impossible to ignore. Britain said no for a reason. Intelligence services survive on suspicion, and Pujol arrived with nothing but a story and an accent. No training, no contacts, no proof. To MI5, he looked like a liability waiting to explode. In wartime London, trusting the wrong man didn't just ruin careers. It killed people. So they turned him away and moved on, convinced they'd just dodged a disaster. Pujol didn't argue. He didn't plead. He pivoted. If the gatekeepers of the truth wouldn't listen, he would speak directly to the people who wanted lies the most. He walked into the German embassy and performed the man they were hoping to meet. A fascist, angry at Britain, eager to help. Germany was desperate. Their spy network in the UK was thin and collapsing. Pujol sounded confident. He sounded loyal. Most importantly, he sounded useful. The interview didn't feel like recruitment. It felt like relief. Germany handed him cash, codes, invisible ink, and a mission to move to London. He accepted everything. Then he did the one thing no one expected. He never went. Pujol never set foot in London. He didn't have to. From a rented room in Lisbon, he invented an entire life inside enemy territory, using nothing but a map of Britain and a tourist guide borrowed from a public library. Sitting at a desk, he wrote reports describing train stations, ports, weather, troop movements, and civilian moods with calm authority. He mixed military observations with ordinary details: long walks, bland meals, headaches, minor illnesses. The boredom was deliberate. It made everything else believable. Germany didn't just accept the reports. They rewarded them. Cash arrived, codes followed, instructions grew more specific. Pujol responded by escalating the lie. He created a spy network that did not exist. A Swiss-German businessman in Liverpool, a Venezuelan student in Glasgow, a Portuguese dock worker in Wales. Each agent had habits, complaints, family problems, and human flaws. When information failed, blame traveled downward. When it succeeded, the network appeared proven. The letters became longer. The narrative became consistent. German intelligence stopped verifying and started anticipating. They weren't analyzing data anymore. They were following a story. And once an intelligence service commits emotionally to a narrative, doubt becomes risk. By then, the most dangerous part wasn't the lie itself. It was how much Germany needed it to be true. That reliance quietly sealed their fate forever irreversibly. Pujol understood something most spies never grasped. Lies collapse when they try to do too much. So he didn't lie loudly. He lied carefully, by telling the truth in ways that changed nothing. He reported troop movements that were already public. He described training exercises after they ended. He mentioned ships that had already sailed. Every detail was accurate. Every detail was useless. German intelligence loved this. Real facts meant credibility. Mundane accuracy created trust. And trust created speed. Reports were processed quickly, forwarded upward, and accepted without resistance. No one wants to question information that keeps being right. Between those facts, Pujol inserted delay. He explained missed meetings. He blamed late couriers. He apologized for timing. By the time a warning arrived, the moment to act had passed. Failure no longer looked like deception. It looked like bad luck. This was the trap. Germany believed it was informed while being strategically blind. The intelligence wasn't wrong. The conclusions were. Each report nudged decision-makers toward confidence instead of caution, certainty instead of verification. War does not punish ignorance the fastest. It punishes misplaced trust, and Pujol was teaching the Reich to trust him. Pujol's greatest invention was not a lie, but a crowd. Germany believed he was only one node in a vast intelligence web stretching across Britain. In reality, every voice belonged to him. Each agent had a name, a job, a temperament, and a reason to fail. When reports conflicted, it proved authenticity. Real networks are messy. Perfect ones are suspicious. Money followed belief. German handlers sent regular payments to fund the network, convinced dozens of lives depended on it. Pujol spent it carefully, reinforcing the illusion. New agents appeared. Old ones complained. Some became unreliable. Others went silent. Every weakness made the structure feel human. British intelligence eventually intercepted the reports and panicked. A manhunt began for spies who did not exist. Then a detail broke the spell. One report claimed Scots would do anything for a liter of wine. Britain did not use liters. That mistake revealed everything. This was not German espionage. It was deception aimed at Germany itself. By the time MI5 understood, the lie had grown too valuable to kill. They chose to protect it alive. MI5 did not celebrate when they identified Pujol. They froze. Every instinct in intelligence work says to shut down unauthorized networks immediately. But this one was different. Pujol was not spying on Britain. He was shaping Germany's decisions from the inside. Eliminating him would not remove the danger. It would hand control back to the enemy. Instead, Britain made a colder choice. They brought him to London, not as a suspect, but as an asset. He was given a code name, access, and supervision. From that moment on, every message he sent carried real intelligence filtered through deliberate distortion. Truth became ammunition. Delay became strategy. This was no longer improvisation. It was state-sponsored deception. MI5 fed Pujol just enough accuracy to keep Germany confident and just enough error to keep them wrong. Each report was weighed for psychological impact, not factual value. The goal was never to mislead tactically. It was to train Germany to trust the wrong voice. Once that habit formed, it could not be reversed. By then, the deception had evolved into policy, discipline, and institutional habit permanently. Pujol's next test came with North Africa. The Allies were preparing a massive landing, and Germany wanted specifics. Pujol gave them everything: dates, locations, troop numbers, logistics. It was all correct. Then he waited. He dated the message early and released it late, ensuring the report arrived after the invasion began. Germany received the truth precisely when it no longer mattered. The response was not suspicion. It was praise. German intelligence apologized for missing the warning and congratulated him on an excellent report. The deception had crossed a line. Failure was now interpreted as proof of loyalty. From that moment forward, delay became a weapon. Timing replaced accuracy as the decisive factor. Pujol no longer needed to invent lies. He only needed to control when the truth arrived. Germany believed it was informed, while every decision it made was already obsolete. That illusion would soon reshape the entire war forever. Pujol now stood at the center of something far larger than himself. Operation Fortitude transformed deception into infrastructure. Fake armies appeared across southern England. Inflatable tanks, wooden aircraft, staged radio traffic, rehearsed movements. Every illusion existed to support a single story Pujol kept telling Germany, that the real invasion would strike Calais. Reports reinforced one another, slowly hardening into certainty. German reconnaissance saw what it expected to see. Maps were updated. Divisions were repositioned. The lie no longer required persuasion. It maintained itself. By the time reality challenged it, belief had already locked Germany into the wrong defense permanently without escape. Germany received warnings before dawn. Pujol insisted something was imminent. Rations were issued. Vomit bags appeared. The signs were unmistakable. Yet when the final message arrived at 3 a.m., radios were silent. Officers slept. Procedures waited. By the time Allied ships reached Normandy, German commanders were still convinced this was a diversion. Calais mattered more. Normandy looked secondary. They hesitated. Then they waited. Hours passed. Requests for reinforcements stalled. Hitler believed the real blow was coming later, somewhere else. While thousands of Allied soldiers fought and died on the beaches, hundreds of thousands of German troops stood idle, guarding empty coastline. Knowledge existed. Action did not. The invasion succeeded not because Germany lacked information, but because it trusted the wrong conclusions. On June 6th, the Reich lost the war not at sea, but inside its own mind. That decision changed history forever. After the invasion, Pujol did not celebrate. He disappeared into paperwork, silence, and fear. Germany, still convinced of his loyalty, awarded him the Iron Cross for service to the Reich. Britain, fully aware of the truth, quietly granted him an OBE. No public ceremony. No headlines. One man, officially honored by both sides of the same war. That recognition was not protection. It was a warning. Pujol knew former Nazis would look for him once the war ended. His greatest weapon had been belief, and belief does not vanish politely. So he erased himself. He staged his own death, left Europe, and settled in Venezuela under a new identity. The world moved on. His name faded. The lie survived longer than the man who created it. That was the cost of winning without being seen. History remembered the victory, but buried the man completely. Juan Pujol García didn't win the war with weapons. He won it by understanding something far more dangerous, how badly powerful systems want to believe they are right. Germany didn't lose because it lacked intelligence. It lost because it trusted a narrative that made sense, felt consistent, and was emotionally comfortable. That should sound familiar. History doesn't repeat itself with uniforms and flags. It repeats itself with certainty, confidence, and unchecked belief. For American audiences today, this story isn't just about World War II. It's a warning about information, authority, and how easily truth can be bent without ever being falsified. Pujol didn't flood the system with lies. He starved it with timing. He showed that misinformation doesn't always look like fiction. Sometimes it looks like facts delivered at exactly the wrong moment. The uncomfortable lesson is this: the most dangerous lies are the ones that feel reasonable, the ones that confirm what we already expect. And the people who control narratives don't always need to silence the truth. They just need to delay it. If this story made you rethink how power, media, and belief really work, help this channel reach more people who care about history beyond the surface. Like the video, share it with someone who loves dark history, and subscribe for more true stories where the most important battles happen off the battlefield.